Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Running the Bases. I'm Michael Garaffa, joined by Ryan Blank and Nick Nath. And boy, oh boy, we have ourselves an exciting show today. It's good to be back. This is our second show in a little over a month. And I must say, it's just good to be doing more than no shows. I'm really happy to be back. I know you guys are as well. How's everybody doing today?
Doing good. Can't complain.
Living the dream out here in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Miss baseball, for sure.
Yeah, can we bring baseball back already?
Yeah, that was it was weird for me being there in the last game of the season, watching and then not only watching the Diamondbacks lose, but watching the Rangers celebrate, be like, man, baseball's over. It's like it's such a weird feeling being there the second it happens, because you're so caught up in the fact that you're witnessing a championship happening, and then you're like, oh, but now baseball's over. This is weird. It was
one of the weirdest World Series ever.
It was, in my opinion, and this is no hate to either team or anything, but it was, gosh, it was easily the most boring World Series of my lifetime.
The ratings showed it. Sure.
Let me explain why this one sucked. It's because there were two games that were just straight blowouts.
Yeah,
Games 2 and 4 sucked. Games 1 and 3, fantastic. And then 5 was just, it honestly kind of reminded me of Royals Game 5 against the Mets, where the Royals got a lead and then final inning just exploded and then ended it.
Well, as you can imagine, I mean, this series reminded me heavily of the 2015 World Series, because it's, again, an underdog team that had no business being in the World Series going against a team that has everything to play for, and then losing in 5 games. And it's like, oh my God, the PTSD I had after they lost was just brutal. I was like, oh my God, here I am again, losing again in the World Series in 5 games. And it's like, great heavens. And it made me think, I was like, man, how many people really have gotten to experience their teams lose 2 World Series or championships and never witness another one at any point in their life? Like, I'm like one of the rare bunch. Nick, I know you're a part of it baseball-wise. Have any of your teams ever won a championship in any sport that you've watched?
Ohio State.
Okay.
Not going to happen this year.
Not professional. You watch it. You watch it, Mr. Steeler.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is scouting illegal? Show me the evidence. Show me the evidence. Show me the evidence.
There's plenty of evidence. It's right there. They're literally on your
show me the evidence that Jim Harbaugh is associated with it. Oh, wait.
He literally didn't deny it once.
What?
He literally hasn't denied it once. You know that, right?
But there's one little thing. There's zero evidence to prove that anybody other than Connor Stallions was a part of it. The NCAA has been searching for a way to find Jim Harbaugh as a part of it, and they cannot find a shred of evidence.
University.
Sorry.
What's his face, Connor?
Oh, he's gone. Bro did this on his own.
Yeah.
This would be a whole thing if Jim Harbaugh knew about it. There's zero evidence to prove that Harbaugh knew about it.
Oh, you guys are gonna lose to Penn State this week.
Oh, that's cute.
Bro, ASU plays basketball tonight. Kind of excited.
Yes. Am I ready to be depressed? Probably.
You know, I'm going to be working some ASU basketball games this off season. It gives me something to do in my off time.
Hell yeah. They're going to be
I was trying to find a Sharpie so that I can write baseball show on the back of that piece of paper and just hold it up while you guys were talking.
I'm done.
No, it's just funny. I always get a kick out of it.
You guys have that right for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's a good time. So this is our annual, not including last year, because nothing last year that happened matters. Actually, I don't know. I don't think we did anything last year. But this is our annual Running the Bases awards show. And honestly, for me, the awards show it's one of my favorites of the year, because it puts the power in our hands to crown our own winners of these awards. And I'll tell you, every single year that we do this, I love it, because I end up finding that there are people that are way more deserving than the finalists that MLB announced, and that sometimes, maybe not this year, but sometimes the people that are going to win might not actually deserve it as much. We had it most notably, I think it was 2021, when we voted Max Scherzer as the NL MVP by a long shot. and he didn't win it. And that was one of the big ones where it was like, man, we thought Max Scherzer really deserved that Cy Young award. I said MVP, that Cy Young award, and he didn't win it. And we voted him as a sweep. And it is like, it goes to show you that, sometimes everyone looks at things in a different way. Everyone gives people awards in many different ways. But in my opinion, there's really only a few ways that you could really look at it. And obviously importance to team matters, but their numbers really matter too. And I'm always intrigued every year to see who we pick. Typically the three of us are all in line together, which is obviously great because it makes for a really good time. But there's also sometimes that we disagree and we have three different ones. And that's what makes these shows so much fun. So, and this is also for everyone that's watching, this is hopefully the beginning of a 3-week stretch where we're doing a show every single Wednesday for a couple of weeks. We've got a couple things planned. We're hoping to do our free agent predictions show, I think, in 2 weeks. Next week, we're going to be reviewing our regular season predictions. I might have those two backwards, but I'm pretty sure I don't. But it's going to be a good time. This is our fun time of year because we get to just go at it, have fun, make predictions, talk about things, and we really get to really enjoy ourselves. So I hope you guys are looking forward to having the content back, because I know I'm excited to be not only chatting with you guys, but having our shows kind of rolling again. And that free agent predictions show obviously is everyone's favorite of the year. So we have so much to look forward to. So let's get it started, shall we?
Right,
let's break down.
Go back to the first free agent prediction show.
Oh, yes.
When I said Alex Gordon's going back to the Royals, and you guys were like, no, he's going to the Pirates. I will always remember that. Or how stupid you two were.
I don't remember saying the Pirates, but okay.
I don't either, but we definitely said he went somewhere else. Oh, you know what? I can actually look it up right now.
I'm pretty sure it was Pirates.
Hold on. Where
I'm
is
pretty
he?
sure.
Gordon. It was. Wow. Damn, it was Pirates. That's funny. Both of us. And Nick and I both picked the Pirates.
I guess they needed a left fielder at the time.
They did. They needed a left fielder. Yeah. Apparently not that left fielder. But yeah, that was definitely an iconic one because that was the first ever show that the four of us had done together. That was when I finally brought you all together, and it was you all met each other for the first time, at least as a group. It was, I think you.
No, Nakasha had been friends for a while, actually.
Right. But it was the first time that Marco had met you guys, and that I was seeing all of you. Marco. Yeah, definitely. So it was a very big deal. I was certainly enjoying it, but it's one of my favorite shows to be able to do this one too. So we've got the off season is always filled with really, really fun shows. I personally think the off season has much more eventful things than the regular season, because the regular season we're kind of just making up content as we go and covering what's happening in baseball. This gives us the ability to put our real opinion on things and perspective.
And we get to have more fun.
Yes, exactly. This is the fun time of year. As much as we hate the baseball's over, this gives us the ability to really have fun during this time. So let's break down how this is going to go pretty quickly. So all three of us are going to give our top three picks. We're going to go 3, 2, and 1. We're going to go in roundabout order as we always do. So, for example, AL Manager of the Year is first, and we're going to do my third, Ryan's third, Nick's third. Once that person gets their name put in there, they're going to be assigned points. If you were given third place by someone, you get 1 point. If you were given second place, you're given 3 points. And if you're given first place, you get 5. So whichever person at the end of the voting gets the most points is our winner for that category. So that's how this is done, and that is how we will get this sorted. Now, I also have to try and figure out the easiest way to keep track of these points in case other people give things that I don't have. So, yeah, that's going to be exciting. I think I'll be able to figure it out, though. So let's get rolling. AL Manager of the Year. I don't want to go first today, so I'm going to toss it off to Ryan and then Nick, and then I'll go last. I know. It's a shocker. It's a shocker. I'm normally the kicker off.
Blasted right now.
Hey, it's fine. Hey, sometimes I'm just not in the mood to be the leadoff man. I like to be batting cleanup. So even though I never was good enough, I was never good enough to do either. All right, Ryan.
Okay, I never batted the leadoff.
This was tough. This was really tough. But my top spot, I gave to Brandon.
No, number three.
Whoa.
Number 3. Kevin Cash. I could not think of anybody better to give it to than Cash. I really couldn't.
Oh man. Okay.
Like
great.
name another manager that deserved it.
Like, I will.
For 3?
I can't think of anybody.
For 3.
I went through the divisions. I was thinking hard about it. I didn't want to put the Astros with Dusty Baker, mainly because they didn't meet their expectations. Scott Servais, no, because they missed the playoffs when they should have made it. After last year, of course, that was the expectation. And I just didn't see anybody else that kind of fit that mold. So I went Kevin Cash for 3rd. Oh.
I'm actually going to go Dusty Baker.
Ah, okay. That's interesting.
I just feel like, obviously, it's a regular season award. I get that. But I personally, since the playoffs happen, we can kind of evaluate it from that sense. And, I mean, the Astros simply just went farther. We thought they were going to be a World Series contender. And, like, I feel like half of that falls on Dusty Baker being the manager because we knew there wouldn't be much of a fall off when they lost all these players in the offseason. Especially like getting Verlander back at the deadline was such a big help, and just the things that he kind of incorporated for them. So I think he's for sure number 3.
That's funny. We all have completely different number 3s, and I have one that Ryan didn't even mention, and that is Rocco Baldelli of the Twins. And I think Rocco Baldelli.
Stop. No.
Led a
okay. Why? It's the consistency every year. Is it because they actually won a playoff series?
No, that we can't include the postseason.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say here. It's the same stuff every year. They go like 85. They get like 80 to 85 wins. I thought about them, but
it's just such a
Kevin
bad
Cash
division.
is more of a
it is literally a Mickey Mouse division.
Yes. Thank you. A Mickey Mouse
I just
division.
think that
where the Royals couldn't even win 60 games.
We got second.
Way.
If we had like 1 week where we didn't lose like 5 games, we would have won the division.
I do feel like there's something to be said, though, for the team that wins the division in such a bad division, because the Twins weren't a very good team. They weren't a very good team.
That goes against your art.
You are contradicting yourself.
No, I'm saying talent-wise, the Twins weren't the best team, but they managed to win the division.
When they added Correa, they definitely were. That's what made them like the best out of the worst.
It's kind of like they also traded for Pablo Lopez.
That's true.
Sonny Gray was their pitching was elite this year. They had like a top 5 rotation in the league.
Yohan Duran is arguably the best closer in baseball, other than Josh Hader.
The lineup's terrible.
Who'd you say?
Edwin Diaz.
Oh, sorry, I'm counting pitchers that actually I don't know pitched this year.
I don't know. I feel like with crazy. I feel like he pushed a team that really might not have thought that they had the ability to have success this year and brought them to another level.
Year, he would have fired.
I don't know. I really don't know.
What do you mean?
I'm sticking. Look, you guys.
If I was the owner of the Minnesota Twins and they did not win that division this year, he'd be out of there.
See, I think you guys have a different perspective than I do, so you probably have a better idea than me. So I think this goes back to
division and how garbage it is.
This goes back to, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago when Gabe Kapler was managing the Phillies, and you guys had him as like your number 1 or number 2, and I was like, no, he's a horrible manager. He doesn't belong managing baseball games, and that ended up being. It did happen. I remember that you guys had him in your top 3 or top 2, and I was.
Phillies?
Yeah, when he was managing the
Phillies. I think this is when the Giants were good for a year. Is when we had him there.
Definitely.
Maybe.
When it was. He was garbage. No,
fair.
It had to be when he was with the Giants, which he deserved to at least be in the conversation.
He should have. No, he
right.
would have won the award that year.
Yeah,
I know, but it went back to that year where I said I was like, I know that he's a terrible manager and that the Giants won in spite of him, whereas some teams won because of their manager. And this is a similar situation where I just don't know Rocco Baldelli as well. So, but I'm giving him my number 3. I'll give him a point.
I disagree, but it's your list.
Yeah. So that takes number 2. Ryan, take it away. Number 2. Number 2.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Bruce Bochy. I mean, the man came out of retirement, wins a World Series in year 1. Incredible. What his career has been. He has been a staple wherever he went, and he is just. When I think of Bruce Bochy, I think a winner, despite nightmares of 2014. But that's besides the point. he is such a good manager. Players want to play for him because he is such a calm, mild-mannered guy. He doesn't get too upset, doesn't get too excited. He is a perfect manager. And it was hard for me to put him at 2. It was so hard, but I think that he has to be at 2 for me. If he wins it, absolutely, I think it's a great call. It's more like 1A, 1B here. I don't think it's 1 and 2 by any means.
Okay, I was gonna say if you didn't say that last little bit, I was gonna start this with I'm very disappointed, Ryan Blank, because I think this is probably one of the easiest awards to give out.
I mean, obviously we can't include postseason, so it's not as easy as it would have been if we were. But
I'm of course including postseason. There's just no way I'm not. These are our own awards.
That's true. You're right. Number
2 has to be Brandon Hyde. It just has to be. If we're going based off all this, like obviously he's gonna be Blank's number 1. He probably will be yours too at this point. I don't know, but because it's a regular season award, of course. But obviously, the Royals exceeded expectations 100%. They won in a division that honestly kind of, besides I guess the Blue Jays were in it till the last day. Yeah, the Blue Jays and the Rays. We thought it'd be different teams from that division competing until the end, but props to him. All the young talent panned out, and they kicked ass this year. Let's just keep it straight. Like, he had that team playing such good baseball, and then Felix Bautista got hurt, and then they kind of derailed for a little bit, and then that really was what hurt him in the it's not what hurt him in the playoffs. Their pitching is what really derailed in the playoffs, but they'll be back for vengeance next year, and that's because of Brandon Hyde.
Well, like I said, I can't include postseason in here because I try and keep it as normal as possible to try and keep all things considered for the way that the awards actually go. But I'm still putting Brandon Hyde at my number 2 because the Orioles were phenomenal this year and they were great. They exceeded all expectations. But this award needs to go to the best manager in baseball. And who was the best manager in baseball this year. And it wasn't Brandon Hyde, as great as he was. Like I said, the manager of the year award is a weird one because most of the time people just give it to the manager of the team that had the most wins or had the most surprising success. It's hard to truly measure the best manager in baseball. Not in this situation. This one is very obvious, excluding the postseason. There's one man who is the obvious best manager in baseball, if not the best manager in baseball history. And he is who Nick and I will be crowning as number 1. But Ryan, I'd like to hear your take on why you think that your number 1 is number 1, who you already revealed earlier.
Brandon Hyde. And like you said, Michael, it's a regular season award. And I think what kind of turned me away, sorry, I have to plug in my computer charger because my computer's dying. But the reason I'm going with Brandon Hyde is because you saw throughout the year the Rangers had a lead in the division, lost it, and then got really inconsistent. Again, if this was going to the best manager in baseball award, it's Bruce Bochy. And if he wins it, he still deserves it. He still does. I am not saying anything that he doesn't okay? Like, he deserves the award as well. But the Orioles a few years ago won 47 games. They won 101 this year without a bona fide paid star. They used their entire farm.
They have 2. They probably have 2 or 3 stars, but they have paid.
No, hold on. I said bona fide paid star.
I know you did. Yeah, I'm saying they have stars.
Oh, no, they have stars. Of course they do. But they haven't paid to get anybody to get them to where they are. They used their farm system, and Brandon Hyde has been there through it all. Through terrible years to here. And what you saw the progression last year when he started getting those young guys starting to play him a little bit, and now you're seeing the full potential of this Orioles team. I went with Brandon Hyde because of the progression of where he's been with the Orioles to now, after a sub-50 win season as an organization to a 101 win season. And winning a very tough division with the Rays, who are always going to be good. Like, it's death, taxes, and Rays being a solid baseball team. Mm-hmm. The Blue Jays, who were solid. And then also 2 teams that would have won the Central, and the Red Sox and the Yankees. So I just think that it's a very close argument, but if Bruce Bochy wins it, I would probably be happier than if Brandon Hyde won it. I'm just going by regular season strictly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We thought one team from the ALS was going to win the World Series this year. We didn't think it'd be Texas. That is for dang sure. I know we said multiple times now, if this was a drinking game, you'd be in the hospital for the amount of times that we've said this is a regular season award. But at this point, I seriously don't care, because this man delivered to Texas what they've been wanting for so long, ever since David Freese was born, and was just miraculous in that World Series. Like, the things that the Cardinals did to them, it was just unbearable. And then Bruce Bochy, now he's making all those hard memories go away at this point, because if this core can also stay together, we thought, what's their GM's name? Chris Young?
Chris Young,
baby.
What Chris Young has done, what we thought we didn't see the vision with, and to do this all, the reason he wins Manager of the Year, honestly, is because he did this all without Jacob deGrom. You're going into this, you go into spring training, you think you're going to have Jacob deGrom as your ace, and you still managed to win a World Series?
Again, they went out and got Jordan Montgomery, who was exceptional.
Yeah, shocking.
He is also a dog.
That's like placing like a 10 to win $250 dollar parlay. You did not think that was going to pan out in the long run. Like,
yeah,
for them to do that,
Pirates parlay.
Facts. But no, Bruce Bochy, Manager of the Year, easiest vote on the ballot. Well, not easiest, but book it.
I agree with you. I'm giving it to Bruce Bochy. You did a great job describing it, so I don't need to do much more. So I need to be the tiebreaker for the third place spot, because it's between Kevin Cash and Dusty Baker, and I'll rescind my vote for Rocco Baldelli. So unless either of you would like to give a vote to Rocco Baldelli.
Bullying Michael on his pick.
I will. Wow, this is a tough decision, because Kevin Cash and Dusty Baker are both very good, and this determines who gets third. But I have to give it to Kevin Cash, using the same reasoning that I gave for Bruce Bochy being the best manager in baseball. Kevin Cash is such a fantastic manager, and that Rays team is just not nearly as good as the Astros, and they still made a real push and they had a lot of injuries this year. So I'm going to give it to Kevin Cash for that third place spot. So our top three: Bruce Bochy is our 2023 AL Manager of the Year. In second place, Brandon Hyde, very, very close second, and Kevin Cash, a very far third. So that takes us over to the NL side, and this one was tough. This one was very tough for me to pick. But we'll start off with Ryan with number 3.
Skip Schumacher.
Interesting.
First year as a manager, and he took the Marlins to the playoffs for the first time, since 2006 in our full season. What he did with that team, and there's not even like a true bona fide, like full-time star on that team. Yeah, you've got Arias, who was fantastic, especially in that first half. Had Soler, great power hitter. Added Josh Bell, some great pitching despite some injuries. But what he did with that team, I think you have to at least put him in the conversation. First year as a manager, not just with the Marlins, just as a manager, and they go to the playoffs. I definitely think he's top 3.
This is tough. I'm kind of going back and forth between these two guys. I'm gonna give it to Skip as well. I think Ryan laid it out perfectly. Gave Marlins baseball back to winning. We had no idea the Marlins would even really be this good. I do disagree about the star, though. I think Jazz is a star. I think anytime anyone is on the cover of a video game, kind of already have that title.
If I may say something, though, he was injured a lot of the year and struggled. He wasn't playing like a star, but I agree.
He's their star. And Sandy's also, for what he's done, he's been part of that turnaround as well, even though he was also not as good this year. But in the second half, he was back to being like Sandy. But yeah, what Skip did with this team was unbelievable. I think the Marlins are going to be like a real threat next year if they can add some pieces. I think losing their GM, though, that's a huge L.
Yeah, big time.
So hopefully that doesn't set him back too much, but They have a bright future ahead, especially with Yuri Perez too. He's a stud.
I don't know. I feel like this team, the Marlins, I don't want to say they were a fluke this year, but part of me feels like they overperformed. They obviously overperformed a lot this year. I don't think anyone really thought they were going to be as good as they were. So the question is, can they keep that success going? And that is kind of a similar story to who I'm giving the manager of the year third place spot to, and that's Torey Lovullo. Torey Lovullo, very close between him and Skip Schumacher. The main reason why I'm giving it to Torey is because as someone who got to witness Torey's managing firsthand this year, he is a spectacular manager. I sat in on a couple press conferences. He knows what he's talking about, and there is not a man that I feel is more in tune with the game out of the two of them than Torey Lovullo, and out of many people. I mean, Torey is so in tune with the game, and I feel like he is so dialed in. I mean, just listening to him talk, I wish I could have given him a higher spot. But if this was including postseason, I would probably have given him the number one spot. But because I'm not including the postseason in there, it's got to be third place. But he'll probably get this award very soon, if I had to guess. So that's their number 3.
I have Lovullo at 2. I think what he has done with the turnaround of that franchise, and again, they have their star in Corbin Carroll. They have a lot of great role pieces as well. But what sticks out to me is how that team banded together, yet only having 2 consistent starters. Gallen, even though he struggled a little bit in the second half, and Merrill Kelly. Nobody else was consistent throughout the year the entire way. And that team still in a very, very tough division with 4 teams fighting for a playoff spot. Well, mainly 3 because the Padres just sucked. But 4 teams that had hopes of the playoffs going into it. I've got to give Torey Lovullo his flowers. I think I have him at 2. What he did this year was exceptional. And I think him getting that extension is so well-deserved that I think it is just a stepping stone. Because I could definitely see him getting Arizona that World Series.
100% agree. Torey Lovullo had 2. I mean, going into the year, we thought this division would be dominated by the Padres and Dodgers, and for a majority of the year, I mean, come I think June, they were hovering around first place in the division. Like even when the Dodgers were struggling, like it was a real possibility. Obviously, the Dodgers came away with it, but I know it's not a regular season award, but for them to beat the Dodgers in the playoffs, like hats off to Torey Lovullo, hats off to having that team ready to come out and play. Obviously, you're disappointed with the World Series loss, but to see how far they come and to already build that core, like they're going to have so much money to play with this offseason too, because they don't have a lot of guys that are even really like under contract per se, like besides rookie deals. So it's an exciting time to be a D-backs fan for sure.
I definitely would have loved to have Torey. If we were including postseason, Torey would be my number 1 without a question. I mean, yes, this young core was fantastic, but in my opinion, they were driven so heavily by Torey's leadership and his ability to band that team together. So, but I wish I could have him even higher. And number 2 on my list is I have a feeling you guys might not even have him on your lists, which is interesting. Is Craig Counsell, and this is an interesting one for me because Craig Counsell continues to take bad teams and teams that really don't have the ability to have great success and bring them to the playoffs. And this is a Brewers team that was most of us, and we'll see it when we review our predictions before the season. I'm pretty sure most of us had the Brewers not even close to the playoffs this year. So again, it's another situation kind of like Kevin Cash and the Rays, where while the Brewers are never really predicted to do well, and no, they never end up having the success at the end, he still brings them there and he gets them to that point. Obviously, we don't know what happens in the playoffs, and we'll never know for him in Milwaukee ever again. But I just feel like, to me, the Brewers team exceeded expectations enough that he deserves that second place spot, in my opinion.
You guys are going to hate my pick. Dave Roberts.
Wow.
Let me explain. The Dodgers had the most amount of games with players on the IL. 16 rookies suited up for them. That's the most in the MLB. A rotation that didn't have a consistent arm in there, with Kershaw being hurt, the whole thing with Urias. Gonsolin, who knows if he's ever going to pitch again. Dustin May's career might be over too. They weren't favored to win their division either. Padres were. And they still win over 100 games. I know Dave Roberts gets his hate. I know he does. But what he did this year was masterful. And if anybody wants to say I'm wrong for picking him to win it, that's fine. But the fact that he's not a finalist is a crime, and I think it's actually terrible that he's not.
I'm trying to fact check you on if they were favored to win the division going into the year, because I just don't believe that.
I think the Padres
were one of top 2 or 3 in winning the World Series.
Yeah, they were. But I mean, with the way the Padres played, it's just the Dodgers are handed that division regardless.
Still, my point stands. They weren't favored to win the division, won the division.
Yeah, so that is
games again. They had how many rookies? 16. Especially the rotation. No consistent rotation for weeks on end. And they still go out and play like that. Yes, again, they have Mookie, who's playing at MVP level. Same with Freddie Freeman. But come on. 16 rookies, and they still do what they did. And they had so many injuries. We talk about the Yankees having injuries. The team that was with the most was the Dodgers.
I just feel like the Dodgers are playing well in spite of Dave Roberts at this point, because it shows in the playoffs.
Playing in spite of people. Can you not see? I don't know. They play for their manager. Oh no, they play in spite of.
They're not. There's.
I'm sorry. He deserved to be a finalist at minimum for what he did this year.
Minimum.
I strongly disagree, but that's okay. All right, Nick, you were number 1.
I knew you'd hate it, Michael, but
I really do.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Fair. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a juggernaut of the team that Brian Snitker has emerged in Atlanta. I mean, this is probably the only fitting time to say this is a regular season award, because they absolutely crushed it. You know, you see what happens when he has Ronald Acuna Jr. for a full year. He showed you. He thought he was so confident, man. After that walk-off they had in the regular season, he's like, "You're gonna be a World Series champion." Obviously, unfortunate, but just him displaying that amount of confidence in his team just showed you how well he did managing that team. Honestly, like decisions like with the rotation, not having Soroka again for another whole year, Max Fried being kind of shaky on the injured list, deciding to bring up Orlando Arcia to replace Von Grisham, like he did the little things and they all panned out. Sticking with Marcell Ozuna after he was hitting like 100 the first 2 months of the year, like
and after being arrested before the season even started.
Ozuna from the Braves. Yeah, unbelievable. He was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. It really is. Yeah, I can't argue that. Brian Snitker, in my opinion, is the manager of the year in the National League, and it wasn't even really close. While yes, they had nothing in the playoffs, this is a regular season award, and they just were incredible. I mean, this team was unbeatable in every ounce of the word. So it's too bad for their sake that they didn't make it further, but it's all right. So we have our top 3. Our 3 are in. At number 3 for NL Manager of the Year, Dave Roberts, thanks to Ryan's 1 vote, gives him.
You know that all you want.
I am, but it's okay, because I mean Craig Counsell and Skip Schumacher are not the greatest either. So number 2, Torey Lovello. How about that? Getting 2nd place. And number 1, Brian Snitker with 10 points. So Brian Snitker grabbing the NL Manager of the Year. So our Managers of the Year, Bruce Bochy and Brian Snitker. But how about that? So far, we have not had a clean sweep for our awards yet, which is pretty interesting. That brings us over to Rookie of the Year. Now we get to the player side of things, where we have actual tangible things that we can use to rank these players, which are stats. And that takes us to AL Rookie of the Year. Ryan, take it away at number 3.
I might get some hate for this, I went with Tanner Bibby at 3.
Oh,
he was fantastic this year. Sub-3 ERA, 10-4 record, I think. He was fantastic. And really when Shane Bieber was inconsistent, had some injuries, and that was just kind of the theme a lot with the Guardians pitching staff, was it wasn't as elite. I don't want to say elite, but as stand out as it usually is, I would say. He kind of stepped up and was fantastic.
The only reason I don't have this guy higher is because he got injured, but I got to give it to Jace Young. The things he was doing to the baseball.
Who?
Jung.
Oh! You said Jace Young, and I got so confused.
Isn't that his younger brother who's in the Tigers organization?
My bad. I'm already.
Sorry. I know you've probably been awake since like 1 a.m. So I understand.
That's facts. I have been awake since 1 a.m.
That's very fair.
Josh Young. Sorry.
Gotcha. I was like, who? Okay, now I understand. Gotcha.
Yeah, he was unbelievable this year. I don't have his numbers pulled up per se, just because it wasn't a full year. But the things this guy, he was honestly like a really sneaky part of the Rangers' early success going into the season. He had unfortunately had that I think thumb injury that derailed it, but he had it. I know it's not a regular season award, but he hit 308 in the postseason with 3 home runs, 8 ribbies, 23 home runs, bro. I guess he wasn't even out that long. 23 home runs and 70 RBIs from the rookie. He's going to be elite next year for that Rangers team.
Yes. Oh, that's right. It's my turn. Jeez. My number 3 is one that you guys but probably won't have on your list. And it's someone that I think really deserves it. And while he didn't play a ton of games, what he did in those 58 games this year were unbelievable. Royce Lewis, obviously not including the postseason, but he played in 58 games and he hit 15 home runs. What I'm looking at here is the 162 game average. His 162 game average is 39 home runs and 132 RBIs. That's insane. He was on pace to have, if he played a full season, would have been in MVP talks. I mean, okay, no, he wouldn't have because of Shohei Ohtani, but still, he would have been considered to be a finalist, and that's insane to me. So I can't ignore that, and I have to give Royce Lewis some sort of recognition because that's just incredible.
I always put him at 3, but you mentioned something. 58 games. I don't even think he's eligible.
I think he. I don't know if he is.
I don't think he's eligible for it.
I agree, but I just
enough games, and that's the only reason why I don't have him on here. Because you saw he set the Twins' season record in grand slams. He was fantastic, and he brought them a huge boost when they really needed it to get to win the division. So absolutely, the talent's there. I just need to see him get healthy and stay healthy. That's why he wasn't on my list. Nakash, you mentioned a name, Josh Jung. I have him at 2. Nice. If he didn't get hurt, he's definitely hitting 30 bombs in a year. He would probably get he'd definitely be closer to 100 RBIs as well. He was so big for that team, especially in the lower part of the lineup as well. I don't have much to say because Nakash kind of hammered it home. I definitely think he should be in the conference. He should have been a finalist despite having those injuries, but I have him at 2.
Fair.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think just him missing those games kind of derailed that, not being a finalist, but definitely eligible. So I don't know really what happened. But at number 2, I have Tristan Casas out of Boston. 263, 24 bombs, 113 hits. He had honestly a really, really slow start to the year, but then he was really, really hot in I'd say late July, August, and September. Really came on for the Red Sox. It was probably besides Justin Turner, their most consistent hitter. Definitely the most consistent pop in that lineup. I think he'll be a force to be reckoned with in the coming years. Really nice swing. Perfect in the 4-hole to be in Fenway.
I mean, 2 solid picks. And I have to give a little bit of appreciation to Josh Young because, he was so good this year and I didn't give him any sort of recognition on my 3, but easily number 4 for me. At number 2, I have Tanner Bybee. And Tanner Bybee is an interesting one because he had a phenomenal year this year. And it's rare that pitchers get the notice that they should in a situation like this. But 25 starts, 2.98 ERA, 1.176 whip, 7.7 hits per nine. I mean, he was really, really good. His only problem was his walks was at 2.9 per nine, which is a high number, but still very promising for a guy that not many people even heard about this year. And I'm sure some people still don't even know the name of. I really didn't even know much about him until I looked at these numbers. So that just gives you an idea. Really flew under the radar this year and is a guy that I think will be really, really talented and really successful in years to come. Ryan, yes, you are back. Great.
Sorry, I had to put my laundry in the dryer. All right.
Your timing was great, though.
Yeah, I heard you starting to wrap up. I was like, perfect. But yeah, I agree with you. That's why I had him at 3, is because he kind of brought some stability to a rotation that didn't have as much stability as it usually does. But my top pick is Gunnar Henderson. And I kind of think this might be our first clean sweep, is because you saw what he did right when he came up. We heard so much about Gunnar Henderson, and boy, did he live up to all of the hype. So I don't know what else much I can say. He was fantastic. And honestly, a big reason why the Orioles were able to do what they did is because they had him and Adley Rutschman. So I'm going to put Gunnar as my Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, it's laughable. We didn't know if this guy would be called up this year. And then wasted no time. The fact that he almost hit 30 bombs is so impressive, honestly. Like, what? He did have some issues with the strikeouts, but that's just a regular rookie thing. Easily, probably you could say he was the Orioles' best hitter. Adley was probably the most consistent hitter by far, but you could make the case that Gunnar was their most important hitter because I can't remember how many times I saw a walk-off hit or home run by Gunnar Henderson to end the night in Baltimore. So the Baltimore has it all right, man. Their core is going to sit together. They don't have any really big contracts. They're going to be so good, and he's a huge reason why.
Yeah, this one was hard to argue, and this will give us our first clean sweep, as Ryan said, which is Mr. Gunnar Henderson of the Baltimore Orioles, and it is really no contest. I mean, 28 home runs, 82 RBIs from a rookie. That's incredible. I mean, it's really not even close. So you guys summed it up pretty well. I think he was able to get this win pretty handedly. So that gives us our top 3 for Rookie of the Year. We actually have a tie for second place. So we don't have an official third. We have a tie for second between Josh Young and Tanner Bybee. So those two are the bridesmaids this year. And then your winner, obviously Gunnar Henderson with a clean sweep. Pretty easy Rookie of the Year. But how about that? We have another in which we give ourselves we have a few so far where we have people that are in our top 3 that didn't make the top 3 for MLB, which is just fascinating. So that brings us over to the NL side. This NL, okay, we obviously know who the winner is, but the other two, I mean, I know one of them. There's one guy on here that I'll get to in a minute that wasn't even mentioned by MLB, and I'm quite upset about it because to me he was fantastic, but we'll get there. So Ryan, start with number 3.
This is the only award I think I've pretty much agreed with from MLB, because 3, I have James Outman, 23 home runs, 70+ RBIs, hit I believe 260s, which isn't great but pretty solid. In today's MLB, there's something that is not appreciated anymore, and it's because the Gold Gloves have become a joke. James Outman is an elite defender. I could have seen him win the Gold Glove this year. He was so good in the field, and I think when you have a guy like James Outman who comes in having to replace Cody Bellinger, who's a terrific fielder, he filled that role very well. And I think that when, of course, he had his slumps when he went, I believe at one point he was 0 for his last 25 or something like that. But that's going to happen as a rookie, especially. I think James Outman really stepped up in a role when he had to replace Cody Bellinger, which despite the struggles that Bellinger had towards the end of his time with the Dodgers, that's still a very, very hard role to fill in for. And I think James Outman did it very well.
I went off the ballot. Screw the ballot. Hate the ballot. They forgot my boy Yuri Perez. What's up with that? No idea. Because he filled maybe an even bigger void for what James Outman did. And when Sandy was struggling, when Sandy was awful, Yuri Perez was their ace for at least 2 or 3 months of the year. And it's really what bona fide them to a playoff spot, honestly. Like the way he looked against good teams too. Like I remember watching a game here because I just moved here. Nothing else was on. It was Dodgers Marlins. 7 innings shutout. Like he was just, I think he's, how old is this guy? He's born in 2000. I can't find his birth. 2003. This guy was born in 2003 and is already doing this stuff.
That's crazy.
So I think, I don't know how the ballot missed out on Yuri Perez, but he's my number 3 for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't even really consider Yuri Perez, but that's probably for the same reason that everyone else did, is that they just kind of overlooked him. But you really do bring up a great point. At number 3, I have, which I'm assuming will be the lowest that he is mentioned on this list, which is kind of surprising coming from me, is Kodai Senga. And Kodai Senga, a spectacular rookie season from him. I mean, really not much else you can say. I mean, to me, these top 3 were all spectacular players who really, really were big parts of their team. And Kodai was so great, phenomenal year, stepped in after Scherzer and Verlander got traded, became the ace of the Mets in 2023. Hopefully won't be the ace of the Mets next year, but will still be a spectacular pitcher for years to come. So he's getting my 3rd place spot, which I know a lot of people are going to think is low, but when I tell you my number 2, it'll make more sense.
I was saying at 2 for me. And I think it's because you saw how bad Verlander and Scherzer were at the start of the year. Then when he left, he really stepped up, and he was great this year. And honestly, you'll probably see him on a different award very soon from me. I think Senga definitely. It's hard to say that he shouldn't win the award because of how great he was, but we already know he's winning this award.
Of course.
Yeah, I went with Kodai as well. I mean, sub-3 ERA, all the hype coming out of Japan, like you just have to. Like, he's the first pitcher I've ever seen throw a forkball. That's got to be something. No one can hit it. Like, the hitters know it's coming. No one can still hit it. He is so elite at what he does. I mean, he really stepped up this year for the Mets, as you know. Obviously, I'm surprised you have him at 3, but. No, yeah, he was very, very elite. He did not look like a rookie. Obviously, his age is a little telling of that, but like Ichiro, man, that's why the guys work out. They're so professional.
It's very true. My number 2 is in this spot mainly because of principle, because I am so passionate about this pick. So I want to compare numbers really quickly for you before I tell you who I'm comparing. One of these players had 151 games. The other one had 106. So 50 game difference. The one with the 50 more games had 23 home runs, 70 RBIs, hit 243 with a 353 on base percentage, 437 slug. In 50 less games, the other player had 20 home runs, which is 3 less, 62 RBIs, which is only 8 less. He hit 297, which is 50 points higher, 389, which is 40 points higher, and 542 slugging, which is 100 points higher.
Is it Spencer Steer?
It is not.
Oh.
The one player is James Outman, who was given a finalist, who had the 151 games. The other one is Nolan Jones of the Colorado.
I have him at 4. I almost put him in over Outman. It was so close. I was this close doing it.
I am so mad
that up, man.
Nobody talked about him. He hit 297. That is so much better. He had such a better season than James Outman. I don't care that he played 50 less games. In those 50 games, he still would have had a higher batting average, on base percentage, slugging, and would have had more home runs and more RBIs. Yes, James Outman is an incredible defender, but Nolan Jones got absolutely robbed, and I am very upset about it because he really deserved this award. No disrespect to James Outman. He had a great start to the year, and for a while, people thought he was going to be the rookie of the year, but he just fell off a cliff in the second half of the season. So Nolan Jones is my number 2. literally just for purpose, or just to make a point. I probably would have him at number 3 over Kodai Senga if I was, or below Kodai Senga if I wasn't so passionate about this. For once, I'm more passionate about someone that's not on the Mets over someone that's on the Mets. So that's my number 2.
Growth. That's called growth.
It is, yeah. The Diamondbacks really made me grow this year.
Very proud.
Bandwagon.
Yes. No.
Yo, bandwagon, you're next.
I know, Ryan.
Oh, whoa. First off, call me a bandwagon again and see what happens. I'm flying to Florida, and we will be having, and it will be on site, my friend.
Just tell us your number 1.
All I have to say is the name, Corbin Carroll. That's it. I'm done. There's no explanation needed.
Yeah, I mean, like, he was just so good. Like, the best player on if you're the best player on a playoff team as a rookie, that's the best way you can describe it, honestly.
That's very true. Yeah, 2 words: Corbin Barrels. I mean, he is utterly incredible. Getting to watch him so much this year was utterly spectacular. Such a talented player. The best player on the Diamondbacks, no question.
He makes playing Oppo look so easy.
He makes baseball look so easy. He really does. And he has such a weird swing, which makes it even weirder because he just has that long shoulder heavy swing and it just works. Just works.
He gets that barrel to the ball.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. So obviously no question. Corbin Carroll's our number 1. Kodai Senga's our number 2. And number 3, as he should be, is Nolan Jones, because I put him in second place. So that gets Nolan Jones the recognition he deserves, which I'm very happy about. So that takes us over to Cy Young Awards. And this Cy Young Awards season is very interesting because the finalists that they put out really were not, they were weird. They were very weird. I mean, obviously the winners, I think, are probably going to line up, but the finalists were strange. Ryan, I'll have you start off on the AL side.
I went with Luis Castillo. I know it wasn't as great of a year as I thought. He was actually, I believe I made him my pick for as my Cy Young before the year. I believe he led at least the AL in starts. I believe he had 33 starts, just under 200 innings pitched, 3.34 ERA. When I read this, I had to do a double take. 219 strikeouts to 56 walks.
Wow.
Well, I was like, wait a minute. No. I went back. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
That's incredible.
I was amazed when I saw that. His ERA plus 121, his whip below 1.1. I thought that after the start he had of the season, I was like, yes, he's going to roll to the Cy Young. Struggled a little bit throughout the middle part of the year, but no, I really think that he should have been a finalist.
I'm trying to decide if I should go off ballot or not. So I want to say Luis, but it's just so close, and when it's so close, I give the edge to ERA. So I'm gonna give it to Gosman.
Wow.
Yeah, 3.16 ERA, 2.97 FIP. I'm not a huge analytics guy, but FIP's an elite stat for pitchers.
It is.
Yeah, 237 strikeouts, led the entire league. He was dynamite for the Toronto Blue Jays this year. Led that pitching staff 100%. We know he's a strikeout machine, but not to this extent. And when he had his control, when he got his control down towards the end of the year, he was virtually lights out. He was big for them in the playoffs as well. Struggled a little bit.
I agree. But he's not on my top 3. And my number 3 is probably, it might surprise you guys. I don't know. I have Sonny Gray at number 3. The reason for this is because the guy at number 2, I think, deserves to be at number 2, and he wasn't even in the top 3 for MLB. But Sonny Gray, what a year, man. 32 starts, 2.79 ERA. And like Nick said, FIP is an incredibly important stat. He led all of Major League Baseball in FIP this year at 2.83. So spectacular year. And honestly, hindsight being 2020, I can probably give him a tie with my second place guy, but I'm giving it to Sonny Gray at number 3. Still a phenomenal year, and I mean, what a comeback.
You said it all. I have Sonny Gray too. I don't think there's much more I can add. I was going to add FIP, but you said it. So, but yeah, Sonny Gray was fantastic, and he and Pablo Lopez, dangerous duo. If the Twins can re-sign him, whoo, that's a really, really, really good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, 100%. It's Sonny Gray. I mean, when you're the best pitcher on a rotation that's in the top 5, and your ERA is like virtually, I think he was 2 in the AL behind the winner of the AL Cy Young that we're all going to say next. But no, Sonny Gray was so elite this year. Had a really good bounce back year. Looked like Oakland Sonny Gray of the past, which was really cool to see. It's always fun when pitchers or when players that were good when we were like in middle school start performing well again. Makes us not age as much. So thank you, Sonny.
Seriously. My number 2, sorry, is one that I had mentioned already, that this player is not in the picks for MLB, and I'm kind of disappointed about it. I mean, he probably could be number 3, but I'm giving it to Kyle Bradish. Kyle Bradish, phenomenal year, and very, very similar year statistic-wise to Sonny Gray. His ERA was just a little bit higher, went from Sonny Gray at 2.79 to a 2.83. Very, very close. Strikeout to walk ratio is really, really, I mean, it's better. 3.82 for Kyle Bradish, 3.33 for Sonny Gray. The hits per 9 is lower for Bradish. The whip is lower for Bradish. It really could go either way. The main reason why I'm giving it to him is because as a rookie to be doing that as well, or rather a second-year player, I mean, this is a dude who had a 4.90 ERA last year. So I think it's more impressive for Bradish to have this season than it was for Sonny Gray. And Sonny Gray was incredibly impressive too. But I think it could really go either way. I just was really impressed with him. And again, making a statement that he wasn't even on the ballot. So.
I have such an issue with who's going to win the Cy Young this year.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. I do, actually. Because for like 3 straight years, I picked him to win it. And he doesn't. And then the year I go against him, he's going to win it. Fair. So, yes, I do have an issue, Garaffa.
I get it.
But, yes, best pitcher in baseball, at least on the American League side, Garrett Cole. Had 33 starts. Best ERA in the AL, 2.63. He had over 220 strikeouts. What shocked me is that he usually has some walk issues. Only walked 48. I was shocked when I saw that. Led the league in whip at sub 1. He was fantastic throughout the year. And I believe this year, I can't remember if this was a career low, but it was a low for at least the past few years with him on home runs per 9 at 6.8, which for Garrett Cole, that's down and that's good. So, and I believe that also led the AL there. So, no, Garrett Cole's going to win it, and I'm mad about it for that reason. Because
it led the AL was not a. Oh wait, hold on.
Is it a career low?
Did you say hits per 9 or home runs per 9?
Oh wait, hits per 9, not home runs per 9. My bad. Hits. Okay. I'm stupid.
You're good. It led AL. It was not the best of his career, though. It was the best he's had since 2020, which doesn't.
Was it close to his career best?
Kind of. Not really. 6.0 in 2019, which is.
Oh, the year that he should have won it.
Yeah.
But yeah, 100%. Give the credit to Garrett Cole. I'm still frustrated because the year I don't pick him, he wins it.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
Yeah. As a bona fide Yankee hater, as I like to claim, I wouldn't say hater. I would say troll. Yeah. The
Sure.
Yankee troll. This was awesome. Because 2 things happened. One thing is police are going on outside, so I don't know what's going on. 2 things happened here. Garrett Cole is going to win the Cy Young, and he didn't make 1 playoff start. I think this is awesome. I think we should be celebrating. For 1 year, he didn't pick him because they're in the playoffs.
You want to know what's funny, Nick? let's take it one step further. Both men who are going to win the Cy Young combined for 0 playoff starts.
Yeah, I'm not a Padre troll.
Yeah.
So it's not
I am.
Yeah, you are.
I am. I'm also a Mets troll.
But as a Yankees troll, this is going to be one of the tastiest awards that gets announced because he didn't get to pitch in the Bronx in the playoffs once. I hate him so much.
Yeah, it's hard not to. Garrett Cole, congratulations on one of the best seasons of his career and not even getting to pitch in the playoffs because of how bad the Yankees are. And did you guys see the interview that was it Cashman or Steinbrenner? I think it was Steinbrenner who said yesterday.
No, it was Cashman.
It was Cashman. It was
saying that this team is saying that this team is incredible.
I would say we're effing incredible.
Yeah, which is effing wrong. You are not incredible.
No, he said the
standards are lower than the Royals.
He said they had the smallest analytics department in the AL East.
Yeah, it's clearly not working now.
You don't plus that, man.
I know. I mean, he said that they were incredible. You are absolutely not incredible. The Yankees are not. They're not the Yankees anymore. I mean, how blind could you be? How blind could you be? That is single-handedly leading your team down a failing path. It has nothing to do with being a Yankees hater for me at this point. It is more that the Yankees are completely do you not want to win? You're consistently setting your team up for failure every single season. And what are you going to do about it? Say, oh, yeah, Giancarlo Stanton at 4 is going to be what happens in the World Series. We're going to have Stanton batting 4th, Judge batting 3rd, and Anthony Volpe batting 2nd. What? They're not. You need to be better. This team should not be as bad as they are. Little Yankees rant over. So AL Cy Young, obviously, Garrett Cole. So sweet. Number 2, Sonny Gray. I'm very happy about that. And Kyle Bradish getting 3rd. Very fine with all of these. I think that is the way it should have gone down personally. And I'm totally content with that. That takes us over the NL side. Another weird. I mean, these finalists were just so strange for the NL. Obviously, we know the one, but I mean, Logan Webb being in there was a surprise. And then I forgot who I even forgot who the other one was. Who was the other finalist in the NL other than Gallen? Right. Yeah. Look, I love Zach Gallen. He didn't deserve to be a finalist this year. He had a phenomenal year and for a time deserved the Cy Young Award, but he was so bad in the second half. There's no way that he could be in the Cy Young conversation. He just can't. It's not, just doesn't make any sense. So let's start with number 3.
You guys are going to hate this, I think, but I just want to put it out there. Justin Steele.
I'm not hating that at all.
3.06 ERA. I know the innings are as high as Cole, who threw over 200. He only threw just over 173, but led the NL in home runs per 9, and I believe let me check. 0.7. Okay, we're good. 0.7. I think that he was honestly such a shock to so many people. I think that he deserves more credit than he gets. That's why I put him on my ballot.
I'm gonna give Logan Webb some love here. I'm gonna do it because honestly, for a team that relies solely on their pitching, because let's be real, the San Francisco Giants can't score runs, but Logan Webb can keep you in a ball game based on his pitching. I think honestly, he deserved to be a finalist just based on the fact that the rotation around him was just god awful. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I wish I had the numbers with ERA. Besides obviously Webb factored in to the Giants, but I gotta give him the 3 just for how I think he had a very underrated year this year in my opinion. So number 3 for him.
Let me get you those team pitching stats for the Giants.
Oh yeah.
The Giants had this is kind of surprising. 4.02 ERA. I think that is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 11th best in baseball. That's kind of surprising. But you're completely right. What'd you say?
I said Logan Webb a huge part of that.
Oh, 100%. But I'm actually going to agree with you. I was really surprised when they announced the finalists and that Logan Webb was in there. But after looking at his stats, I was shocked. I really had no idea that he had this kind of season. I mean, 3.25 ERA, great.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But this number is going to blow your mind. 6.26 strikeouts to walk ratio. That's incredible.
Wow.
He had 194 strikeouts, and he only walked 31 batters. What? His whip was 1.074. He led the National League in walks per 9. I mean, that is unbelievably impressive. You cannot get much better than that in terms of keeping men off of base. I mean, yes, he allowed 201 hits, but that's not ridiculous. So surprisingly, I'm agreeing with MLB and putting Logan Webb at the 3rd spot. But I agree, Ryan. I would have had Justin Steele in this spot if I hadn't have looked deeper at Logan Webb's stats. So I don't hate it.
All right, we're on 2.
Yes.
Kodai Senga. We talked about him earlier. I don't have to say much. I was that impressed with what he did this year.
I like it.
I don't know. I think MLB got this ballot right, man. I'm going to give it to Gallen. I just think he was too dynamic in the first half of the year. I know, yes, he struggled in the second half of the year, but I think that gets a little bit overblown, just a little bit, because he did have some starts in the second half of the year that they really did need, and he was there for them. And, I mean, I don't know. I think, honestly, his start in the World Series, too, when his team needed him the most, I was like, he's just that guy. Really
after losing every other game that he had.
I understand. When his team needed him the most. And in the first half of the year, they're not where he is. They're not where they are without him. So he's honestly what propelled them and that pitching staff to what they are. Merrill Kelly was phenomenal. I'll give him his flowers. Best pitcher that they had second half of the season. But Gallen was overall their best pitcher. Absolutely not. Absolutely.
Nah, Merrill Kelly's got that dog in him. He's the ace of the Diamondbacks.
What?
So what? Merrill Kelly's the ace of the Diamondbacks. I'm sorry. He is built for it. Zach Gallen's an incredible pitcher, but Merrill Kelly is the Diamondbacks ace. No question. After what he did in the playoffs, that is what an ace does. An ace doesn't pitch like Zach Gallen did in the playoffs. And again, not to say that he's not going to be great next year. I love Zach Gallen. He's a fantastic pitcher. Merrill Kelly showed up when he needed to and was the best pitcher for the Diamondbacks this postseason and has been right behind Gallen numbers-wise, and the mentality makes him the ace of this team. Number 2 for me is a name that neither of you have said or will say, and is a name that no one talked about. Here I am again. Corbin Burns. No one talked about his season this year. 3.39 ERA, right around the heart of the pack. He led the National League in whip. He had a 1.069 whip. He had 6.6 hits per 9, which is incredible. 1 home runs per 9. His walks were a little bit higher than you'd like them to be at 3.1, but still, I mean, all things considered, 200 strikeouts. I mean, this is another incredible year from another incredible pitcher, Corbin Burns. And I just don't know how they ignored that. I mean, in my opinion, better than Logan Webb at the very least. So I don't know. Just weird that there was.
He probably had to have better than Logan Webb.
Right. And in my reasoning, having Logan Webb at 3rd, I have to have Burns at number 2 because I think that's, I mean, if he's better. So I don't know, just weird that no one even considered. I think he should have been over Logan Webb and Zach Gallen, obviously, but whatever. Ryan, number 1.
We know who number 1 is. The run that Blake Snell went on is historic.
Oh,
he was incredible. It's like he's like, hold on. He sees guys like Zach Gallen just start balling in that first half and says, hold on, hold my beer, and goes absolutely nuclear to end the year. So it's tough because I really think that there's a lot of great pitchers, but Blake Snell just ran away with this award.
Yeah, no, it has to be Snell for me. For everybody that's gonna vote in this, he was honestly, he was reverse Gallen.
Yeah.
Not, I wouldn't say horrendous first half, but mediocre first half. And then he pitched like Maddox in the second half. He was unbelievable. And so yeah, he's gonna come away with his first or second. Did he win in Tampa? He didn't win in Tampa.
Let me look. Hold on. Pause.
I thought he won one in Tampa.
I think he got no. Yeah, he did. He won the same year as DeGrom, and I think 2018. 2018, yes, he won it in Tampa.
Okay, yeah. So this will be the second one. Good for him, man. Good for him.
He had a 1.89 ERA in 2018. 1.89. That's incredible. Yeah, that's no question. It's Blake Snell. 2.25 ERA. Can't argue with that. There's really, nothing else you can say. He's just incredible. So got to give him serious props. What a year. What a turnaround for him. After 2018, he was really just a 2 or 3 starter. And he finally got back to that top tier quality that he had been missing. So that gives it to Blake Snell. Now, we do have a small problem here.
Stays undefeated.
Oh, definitely. We do have a small problem, though, because we have a 3-way tie for second, which means that one of these pitchers can't be on our top 3. Kodai Senga, Zach Gallen, and Corbin Burns. I think out of the 3, I'd like to move Zach Gallen out of that, but it's up to you guys to you guys can throw in. It's 1 point to remove Zach Gallen for me.
That's fair. Sure. No.
You guys can.
How?
He fell off so far in the second half.
I wouldn't say so far. Like that's so overblown. He had 4 or 5 bad starts. But again, yeah, but he had the majority of your second half. But he would.
His WHIP was much higher. His ERA was a little bit higher than Burns and Logan Webb. 3.47 ERA. The numbers are very good. I'd put him at 4 or 5, but I don't know. It's up to you guys. I have 1 vote to remove Gallen.
I honestly don't care.
I don't care.
It would irk. Yeah, I get honestly.
There's not one that's like, oh heck no, I don't need him on my list.
That's what I'm saying. They're all interchangeable except for Snell.
That's fair. All right, well, we'll give a 3-way tie then for second place. Who cares? 3-way tie. Woo! There's 4 people, 4 finalists. Let's go. All right, MVP, the one that everyone looks forward to the most, and the one that will wrap up the show. We start off with the AL side. Ryan, take it away.
Okay, I'm going to get flack for this, but I don't care. I put Yandy Diaz at 3. I don't think Simeon deserved it. I don't think Simeon
not even close.
Did Simeon step up in big moments in the playoffs? Absolutely. He came up big, especially after Adolis went down. So, yes, credit 100%. What Yandy Diaz did this year, hitting .330, I believe he hit 22 home runs, 70-plus RBIs. He should have been in the conversation. He had a great year.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. Yandy Diaz, he won the batting title in the AL. I don't know if you said that or not, but he was so good for the Rays team. He's honestly really the heart and soul, the leadoff hitter. It's so hard to hit 23 bombs, the leadoff hitter these days too, and hit for that average. So if he hit for a little more pop, he could have been triple crown. No, he didn't have the RBIs. What am I saying? Wait, how many RBIs did he have?
78.
For a leadoff hitter, that anything above 60 is really good. So outstanding year. On base, what was his on base percentage?
410, which is a career high, which is fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I agree with you guys. I thought I would be the only one, so I'm surprised. But yeah, Yandy Diaz, total snub. He 100% deserved to be on this list. 100% deserved recognition of some sort. And the fact that Yandy Diaz was not in the top 3 is utterly disgusting. Marcus Semien, great player. Not at all deserving of being a finalist for this MVP. I'm sorry. He got the last 2 wins of the World Series for them, but he was like 11th in OPS, not even close in batting average, not even close in home runs, not even close in RBIs. There shouldn't have even been a conversation. So Yandy Diaz for sure is my number 3.
Number 2 for me, Corey Seager. I think if he did not miss any games, there's an argument to where he could have won the award. He was so good this year. And I don't know what it is. That man I think when he hits, he's seeing beach balls, not baseballs.
Yeah.
He is such a good hitter. And his fielding, as his career's gone on, has gotten better as well. There's a reason why he's a 2-time World Series MVP. And I think if he would have been able to stay healthy all year, he really could have given Shohei a real run for his money. Whoops. Now you know who I picked.
No, you picked Shohei?
That's crazy.
But yeah, it's exactly what Blank said. I mean, it's Seager. If I was doing the same logic I had throughout the rest of the show, which I'm kind of regretting now, like Seager would be my MVP, but I'm not going to give it to the guy that we're going to mention in a couple minutes, like a couple seconds, honestly. But shout out to Corey Seager, man. This guy is just so humble, so chill, such like one of the most perfect like role models for like a young baseball player. Like he just doesn't like get involved in any type of thing. Like he's just so subtle. And it makes his trash talk even that much better because he really does do trash talk. And when he did at the parade, it was so awesome. Like the Corey Seager fan club starts here, man. Like
that hyped me up. That trash talk hyped me up.
He is such a dog. He deserves everything that Texas has like been through. Like he is the heart and soul of that team. Congratulations to Corey Seager. He really gave it to Dodgers fans this whole time.
Yeah. I mean, 119 games. The problem for him is he just can't stay healthy, but easily the best year of his career. In 119 games, he had the second most doubles of his career at 42, tied for the most home runs of his career, 13 more RBIs than he had ever had in his career. I mean, easily the best season of his life. He had the best batting average of his career. He had the highest on base percentage, well, second highest, and far and away the highest slugging percentage and far and away the highest OPS. I mean, there's no question. He's number 2. And then Ryan, number 1, which will give us our first full clean sweep of the day with every position.
Shohei Ohtani, baby. Despite going on IL, I believe it was a career-high 304 average, 40-plus homers. The man is ridiculous. Absolutely insane. There are no words to describe how pure of a hitter he is. So, yes, Shohei Ohtani is the MVP.
Oh, sorry. I mean, yeah, I don't really have to say much. He got hurt, and he's still going to win an MVP because he just means that much more on the diamond than anybody else does.
Oh, yeah.
You're a two-way guy. You can do it all. It just doesn't matter. Like, he is what every baseball player growing up now is going to try and do, and it's going to end up hurting a lot of people. Just because he's just what he does just is that impressive, and you saw his body couldn't even do it for a full 2 seasons, and he's going to end up being a hitter for the next couple of years, and it's going to end up costing him a lot of money. But I mean, for what he did for the past 2 years, unbelievable. Congratulations again to Shohei Ohtani for everything he's done, and baseball is a much better place when he's playing, and it's going to be sad when he has to sit out these next couple.
Remember,
months.
He was also in the conversation for Cy Young before he got hurt. He was pitching that well too.
It's true. I mean, there's no question that Shohei Ohtani would have. I mean, he would have won this award without his pitching. He could have not thrown a single pitch this year, and he would have won the MVP without a doubt. The fact that he was pitching makes it the most obvious MVP we've ever had. I mean, it's just incredible. This man, when he retires, will probably go down as one of the top 3 baseball players to ever walk on this earth. I mean, he is utterly spectacular. This is a player that in 100 years from now, they're going to look back and go, man, I wish I could have watched him play, just like we say about Babe Ruth. We are so lucky that we are able to watch this happen. He is utterly incredible. He is a specimen. He really is. I mean, just a specimen. It's unreal. Obviously, it's Shohei Ohtani. So we have our first fully clean sweep. Shohei Ohtani at first, Corey Seager at second, and Yandy Diaz at third. Only 3 votes, or 3 people getting votes. And how about that? Take that, MLB. Yandy Diaz, number 3. That takes us to NL. And NL for a little while was kind of a race between 1 and 2. And they left someone out on this ballot to me who really deserved it. and I'll get there in a little bit. But Ryan, lead us off.
I had so much trouble with 3 and 4. Honestly, it's 3A, 3B. I almost put them both on here. But I agree. Freddie Freeman, 331 average, over 200 hits. Home runs were a little bit down. He didn't hit 30. I believe he had 29. But he was exceptional this year. He is just such a constant at the plate, whether it's power, whether it's just getting on base. He is such a pure contact hitter along with his power. That's what makes him so dangerous. But also, Matt Olson was fantastic. 139 RBIs, Braves record in home runs. So either one you put at 3, I 100% respect.
You nailed it. I mean, I went off kind of like what the ballot had, but I think it's Freddie Freeman, 100%. I placed a bet on him. I think at one point when the race wasn't even that, like we didn't know it would be the next two guys that we're about to mention, but I thought he had a real shot with the batting average. I think he led the NL in batting average. I'm pretty sure. On base percentage, probably very close to it. He was unbelievable. I mean, when Mookie struggled, he was definitely their most consistent hitter, I would say. Mookie was probably their best hitter, but that's just the theme of Freeman's career. I think in another year where, Acuna doesn't have his Barry Bonds type of year impact, like he would have been in the discussion for sure with his teammates. So congrats to Freddie Freeman on another unbelievable year.
Yeah, I mean, Freddie Freeman was a very solid pick. It's hard to argue. But I'm going to anger you guys a lot on my number 3 pick. So Mookie Betts at number 3.
Wow. That's wild.
He was fantastic. Spectacular year for Mookie Betts. One of the best of his career. I mean, 307 batting average is the first time he's hit over 300 in 5 years. 39 home runs is far and away a career high. One of the best years of his career. Incredible season for Mookie Betts. And for a while, it was the Mookie Betts, Ronald Acuna Jr. show at the top of the MVP. But I will explain in a minute why he is not my number 2.
That's wild.
I have Mookie at 2. This was such a race. It really was. And then Mookie started to fall off a little bit. But what Mookie did, because people started counting him out a little bit because he wasn't as elite as people were saying when he was in Boston and blah, blah, blah. But come on. He has the fielding. He has arguably one of the best arms in baseball, and he can play so many different positions. And he's just a great leadoff guy. We talked about leadoff hitters, and the man hit over 30 home runs. Let's wind that back real quick. It's so hard to be so effective at the leadoff spot, and look what he did. He was so effective with it. I mean, I get it. He did not have the best end to the season, and I get that, Michael. But for a while, a lot of people were thinking maybe he can overtake a historic season from Ronald Acuna. But no, absolutely. I mean, 307 average is nothing to spite by any mean as well.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with Blank. It's Mookie Betts to me. I mean, the amount of things that this guy does for the Dodgers is unbelievable. I think in a 2-inning span, he went from right field to getting a home run to stealing a base to stealing third, coming home, and then next inning I'll play second base for you. Like it's no big deal. I almost feel bad for him because I don't know if he'll hit 300 ever again in his career because he's not that much of an average guy. Let's be real. Like he's found his pop in his bat. I think he's going to rely on that to go on for his career. But this guy was just so elite this year for the Dodgers. I mean, if it weren't obviously for those two guys, the Dodgers would have been in piss. So that's why they're in the MVP talk, because they were just that much better than their teammates were this year.
And ironically enough, the two of them are the reason why they didn't win a game in the playoffs. It's pretty fun. My number 2 is Matt Olson. And here's why.
Yeah, that's fair. That's 100%.
Here's why. 54 home runs. 139 RBI. That is 32 more than 32 more than Mookie Betts had. He struck out a lot, 167 times, but he had only 20 points less of a batting average. He had only 20 points less of on-base percentage. He had 30 points more in slugging and a higher OPS. I mean, come on. What a phenomenal year for Matt Olson. And Ryan said it.
He had a fat slump, though. I will say that.
Yeah, but Mookie Betts ended the year poorly too. And Mookie's ending to the year is what really it changed it for me. It was such a close race in so many ways. And honestly, you can make an argument that Matt Olson could get a chance at a number 1 spot, but you just can't because of how strong Acuna finished. But I mean, really no question that Matt Olson had an incredible year. So that's why he's my number 2. But number 1, Ryan, again, closes out.
There's no doubt it's Ronald Acuna. He set records. This is a historic record season, and people started counting him out. Man, maybe the ACL injury might have taken away what Ronald Acuna Jr. was before. He said no, and he was fantastic. Incredible season, 40 home runs, 70 stolen bases. You don't see that ever.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind he is easily the MVP.
Yeah. I mean, we might not ever see one of these seasons ever again. Like, he's a real, like, it's Mike Trout-esque what he did this year. Like, it's even it's what Mike Trout would do like a couple of years ago at this point without the stolen bases, which is even more absurd. Like, he is doing things that really we've never seen before. We've never seen a guy hit this much average with this much pop with these many RBIs in the leadoff spot. How many RBIs did he have?
106.
106.
That's crazy.
I don't think people understand how hard that is to do when you're the first hitter of the game. I mean, obviously the Braves manage to have guys on like runners for him all the time, but he the probability that he will have someone on base when he comes up is just so low that is just such a mind-blowing statistic for me. Good for him. Congrats on one of the best seasons I've ever seen a professional baseball player ever have.
I mean, you summed it up beautifully. I mean, he had 217 hits. That's insane. I mean, that's so many hits, so many runs, on base percentage of 416. Like, he made an argument that he might be, I think he was the best hitter in baseball this year. I mean,
100%.
I mean, between him and Ohtani, it was really,
it was him.
Yeah, I mean, it was just incredible what he did this season. It was really, really phenomenal. I mean, 73 steals is something that doesn't happen in baseball. He did that while hitting 41 home runs. It's just ridiculous. So, without question, Ronald Acuna Jr. is our number 1. Mookie Betts is our number 2, and Matt Olson is our number 3. So, that's the way that I, again, think that it should have gone down. But, I mean, MLB, you never know what they're going to do. So, that wraps up our awards show, and what a time, man. I love our awards show every single year. It's so much fun. It's just, we agree on some things, we disagree on others. We got some moments that'll definitely go on the TikTok this year. I'll definitely, there's definitely some TikTokable moments at that. So we'll see where that ends us up. I want to make sure that I get these exactly correct because we are planning on doing shows each of the next 2 weeks. So I want to make sure that I have them in order properly. All right, so we're going to do, I was wrong at the beginning of the show. We're going to do our free agent predictions show next Wednesday, or at least we're aiming to. And then our season predictions review will be the week after that. So 2 weeks from now, we'll be doing that. So I will make sure that I get that all lined up and then out to you guys. We got some interesting free agents this year. Very, very different kind of class than we're used to. So I'm intrigued about that. But thank you so much for watching. It was another incredible hour and a half of Running the Bases Awards. So much fun every single year whenever we do this show. I look forward to each and every one of them. And next week, we have our always most exciting show of the year. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all in the